Easy as that. So we're out here in the garage today working on a 2019 Malibu. We're going to do brake pads and a rotor. We've already done the other side, but we're going to do this side. This is a very simple, very straightforward job. The only specialty tool you'll need is a Torx bit to take this set screw out. That's a T30. T30 right there. You'll have two 14s here to take your caliper loose, get your pads out. Those are a 21, a 13, 16s if you don't have a 21. Obviously, to get your wheel off, you'll need a, what is that, like a 3/4, I think, socket to take the lug nuts off. I think, yeah, 3/4. But this is very straightforward. We've already got the other side done. If you need pads, there's your part number for pads. Dad's already cleaned off the rotor, so we'll bust this loose, get all that swapped out. Make sure too you pay attention on the pads. There is an inner and an outer. What do we do with the pads? Right there. And they're labeled on these from advanced inner and outer, but your inner will have your squealer bar. This is straightforward. We'll get in here and get this taken care of. So the pads have these little spring clips like these. You just pinch them together, they will come off, and then your pads, you just pull out. These pads aren't bad, but they've been making some noise, so we're going to change them. And then we'll also get this hardware loose, but since we're going to do the rotor too, I'll go ahead and take this bracket loose, and we'll do all that out here so it's easier to see. So we got our bracket off. These are, like I said, they're what, 13, 16s, or they look like about a 21. But these will be a bear to get out because this yellow stuff is factory thread locker. So I had to put my wrench on and get Thor on it with a hammer, and it still took forever. The bad thing is it's hard to get a socket in here because of that bolt. On the bottom you can get a socket on it. Up here you can't, because by the time you get in there you're like this. So I recommend a box end, a mallet. So now what we'll do is we'll get these off like that. Yeah, you know, this thing is a tripod for a reason. Pop these off. Flathead works really well here too. Okay, new hardware's right here. Now I recommend, personally, what I do is anywhere metal and metal are going to touch, I put a little bit of grease and I'll cut down on your noise. And what Dad just showed me here, I'd never thought about doing. When you're doing grease, he'll take a Q-tip, grease on it, and then you just wipe it on. Like I said, anywhere metal meets metal. Don't go crazy, because then you don't want to get it on your pads or on your rotor. Okay, anywhere metal meets metal. Like this. Okay, and then these pop on just like this. Boop. That one's good. If you got a wire brush or a wire wheel on your grinder, this is a good time to knock off a little bit of corrosion if you've got it. Those are on. Now we will do the most important step here. Take this slider out. Get it good and greased. This is your lubrication for your brakes. Slide this back in. Pay attention, because these sliders are different. One of them has this little rubber boot. I don't know why it's different, but some people swear up and down it makes a difference if you put the top one in the bottom and the bottom in the top. I don't think it matters. Do you?
Probably not.
I just don't. But some people swear up and down.
They did that to confuse you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for it. If you know what the reason is, tell me down below. And also make sure when you put this slider back in, make sure it goes all the way in and that boot pops over that lip. If you don't, you'll get salt and rust and corrosion in here. Get that out. So next up on our project will be, we will get this torque spit out, knock this rotor off. Easy as that. So now we'll take this out. Pop the rotor off. If the rotor doesn't come off, hit it with your mallet. Hit it with the back. Okay? Now, we've already cleaned these with brake clean and got the factory. A lot of these come with a coating on them, like an anti-rust coating. We will take our impact. What I do is I will get the set screw started by hand so you're not cross-threading it. Well, might help if you line the holes up, huh? There we go. Okay, get it started by hand. Cool. Then take this guy, put it back on here. Okay. Next step, we will put our bracket back on. Well, before I put my bracket on, I'm going to go ahead. I greased the inside. Now I'll grease out here where the pads meet. Some people grease the hardware. Some people will grease the pads. As long as you're getting something in here to keep noise down and resistance, it doesn't matter where you put it, in my opinion. Just right here. Now on these pads, there is something a little different I've noticed. Normally I just put grease on the bottom part down here. And right here where they rub. But if you notice on these pads here, they actually ride on the top too. So you want to put a little bit of grease up here. Not that much. A little bit too much. Okay, everything's good and greased. If you're curious what we're using here, they do make specific brake grease, but you can just get this heavy duty. Anything that says it is for, I normally use wheel bearing grease. Anything that says it is high temperature or for wheel bearing will work. Okay, so we'll jam this guy back on. You were talking earlier. All right, so bracket is back on. Everything is greased. Remember, not only does it say inner, but you've also got your squealer bar. Okay, pop these guys in. Pop that guy right there. And we'll take these little guys right here. If you notice, they are hooked like that. They actually hook in these little grooves right here. Are we missing one? Look right. Okay. Thank you. Advice here when you do this: zip tie your caliper up out of the way, that we don't have to fight it being in the way and it doesn't hang by the hose there. And when you get done, you just take it off here and go to here, and it's out of the way. Okay. So now we have to compress this caliper, this piston, so it will go over here. You can use a C-clamp, you can use a press, or you can just grab a pair of channel locks like such. Make sure you don't pinch your hose. Do not pinch the hose or try and avoid that bolt. Dad, we hold that guy right there. And if you're having trouble doing this, what I've done before too is take a little bit of WD-40 or PB Blaster and spray around the piston, around the boot, because you do not want to rip that boot. Okay, make sure it's good level. There we go. Boom, look at that. Compressed. Now we will take it, make sure your hose is not twisted. Slide this over. Push your 2 guide bolts, guide pins, whatever you want to call them in. These 2 guys right here. Thread it in. My suggestion is get both of them started before you tighten them down, because I have went to tighten this one down and the top one wasn't in, and it will, or vice versa. I actually watched somebody one time do this, and they only did the bottom, flipped it up, put the pads and put it back down. I said, aren't you going to grease those? Why? I said, okay. Snuggies down with your 14. And we're done. We just changed the rotor and pads on this Malibu, and it took us both sides an hour tops, and that was us talking and BSing and stuff. But this is a really straightforward job. Like I said, the only special tool you'll need is that guy right there to get the rotor off. You don't have to put that set screw back in, but I do just because. That's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Aren't you going to grease those? Why? I said, okay.